Thank you very much for that. So let us look at the period, late 90s. So, what do you think that set does it have? Does it have yeah, depict or relate to the story? If you look at the costume, I think costumes, makeup, props are part of the things that will depict the period aside the storyline. So with that, do you think the actors they really depict and the props, do you find anywhere challenging or questioning?
Well, one thing I would say from my own end is that when we are looking at historical period, I think we should look at two eras. So in the course of the main film, so we it was set in late 90s. Then there was an allusion to a flashback
Yes,
to another
to
period. So I
period.
think we should look at those two eras. So and that will be in the maybe early 1800s.
Yes, yeah, okay. That that
So
that flashback.
it should be in early 1800s or late 1700s, whatever. So, but what I just want to say is this: they tried their best. When I this sorry for the way I'm talking about it. They tried their best in depicting the late 90s. You see the lorry, the Begilodo,
And the cars.
the cars. They tried to depict that the music of such
Yes,
period.
yes,
I
yes.
heard Ebenezer Obey.
Mm-hmm.
So the props, other props that they used, but there is still little question about the costume. But of course, I'm not a costume person, so I will not outrightly uh,
Talk much about
talk
it.
much about that. Then the 1800s that they depicted, the 1800 that they depicted too, I still have little problem. But the way it was color graded,
Okay.
so I think the color grading covers for that period
The
to
color
me.
grading does not overshadow the color grading does not overshadow what we are really seeing. If you are seeing an Ankara stuff in 1800, whether you color grade it to make it look like in the olden days, you will still know that this is an Ankara material. Do you get it? So I don't believe that you can just color grade and
But color grading is part of things that
it's
really depict
it's part of it,
period
but
in the filming.
definitely it is fiction, but still we will still, that is the reason for criticism, we will still notice the people that are watching are not, they are well informed. Our audience are more well informed, even more than us. Most times if you make a movie, your audience might be far informed than you. We have historians, we have so
So
many
he
people that are
said it's
watching it.
not an historical film. He
It
said
is
it,
not.
but because he depicted a
It depicted
particular
a particular
time,
time.
that's the reason why we are
Do
talking
you
about
get
it.
it? So they tried their best. That's what I can say. They really tried. They made effort,
But
but
I can
they
remember a place, and I want you to talk about it.
okay.
Yeah, a place where the thugs went to demolish to fight some people about a particular. There's a building there. Do you remember that building?
Yes,
Yeah,
yes.
That building, I don't know. I was not born then, but I believe that building, if you can still remember, is modern blocks that they use. The
The
bricks.
bricks. Well, that
those bricks have been there since 80s. I think we have bricks like that
yes.
in the 80s.
What
We
you
have
call it?
bricks like that in the
What you call
70s.
it?
We have
That
bricks
me
like
no
that.
need.
So our house was built that way. My
Yes,
father's house was built
that way.
that way.
So
So I think we used the bricks. By the way, they are even solid, more solid
definitely.
than the ones that we
But
use
but
now.
but in the choice of words too, we can in the choice of words to the language, we can find modern
Linguistic.
yes, like Oshioma Banke in one. Sorry to use that name for him. I can't remember his character in the movie. Uh, I can remember that he was making use of slangs like, very recent slangs.
Yes,
You
yes,
get it?
yeah.
That they could have just made more research on how
They speak at that
the
time.
thoughts then.
Speak at
What are
that
the
time.
slangs? What are the common slangs in the 90s? Because I can still remember that my dad used to say, èdè ọmọ jẹ̀ka, ọmọ jẹ̀ka. Tó bá pè ọ́ lọ́mọ jẹ̀ka, that means ń gbá lórí ẹ̀ nìyẹn, and tó bá ní ó ń gbá lórí èèyàn sì is a recent
It's a
language,
recent
but my
language.
dad will say ọmọ jẹ̀ka. So that should be the kind of language they were using that time. So they were slangs. So we should get to a stage where in a movie of the 90s, we should be saying opo, or we shouldn't be hearing some
Oble,
recent stuff. It's like hearing omble in a 90s movie. They didn't say that in that movie. I'm just making
Okay,
it up.
yes, I understand.
So I could hear some languages in the movie that were still recent, because language evolves over time. Some language have gone, some languages have gone to extinction already, and we are still using some right now, and some will still go into extinction, and some will still come. Omble was not here 2 years ago, but Omble is here to stay.
Are
So
you
do you
sure?
get it? So
Okay.
most of the time we should try
Okay,
and
let us look at the
research more.
plot then, because I think the period also have connection with the plot. What is the plot? The, the plot here is not just the. I want us to look at the arrangement of that event. This intriguing? Plot needs suspense, needs some articles.
Yes,
Are they well?
actually, I like the prologue. I've been making emphasis on it. I love it. You know, even in theatrical performances on the stage plays, you have to come in with a very
Prologue,
prologue.
pictures.
Do you get it? A good theatrical director should know that. And I like the way they did it. You know, all those 7 women falling down. I like the beautiful effects. People were like, wow, wow, wow. But it got to a stage where things were drawing down. Some scenes were not really necessary. Scenes were not really necessary, so it started drawing. But I believe that they were trying to put those things because of maybe probably aesthetics, or to just make, the film more bulky. Because I personally, I believe that the movie can be done for a feature movie, rather than
Dragging it.
dragging in and extending
Well,
it.
I have
For
a,
that's
I have
my
a,
that is my
my own
opinion
view is,
actually.
what?
Do you get it?
I have a
Because it
different
got to
view.
a stage, it was now coming down, and later through the introduction of Isusu and the 6 women that came to cause trouble again, the pace came up again. Do you get it? But all the same, I love the plot. If for a future movie just like that, you get it, maybe 1.5 hours, it would have been very, very beautiful.
And with what is said, I will say that number one, we have the chronological plot kind of, but this one is not. At some point, with the introduction
Sort
of
of
the
flashback.
flashback, it wasn't chronological,
Mhm.
but from the beginning, from the exposition, our introduction to those characters and all this, it was done well. Then the climax, the conflict was well planted. The conflict was well planted. Then the climax was good. Then it came down,
The
but
anticlimax now.
the anticlimax. So it came down, and I believe that that will be anticlimactic in a sense, because when you are going at a very high pace every
Like
time,
that.
so it will, you know, there is this thing in Yoruba. They say that when you walk on a particular statue too much, you will destroy the nose. Àgbẹ́jù àgbẹ́jù ló máa ń ba mú èrè jẹ́. So that when you fine tune it too much, because of the fact that you want to retain audience attention or whatever, you have to allow the audience to breathe and add music, add things that we can enjoy ourselves.
And that is the
Let's
reason
make
why
it
we have
natural.
comic
Relief
in
at some
in
point,
in
yeah.
tragedy.
In a tragedy, so there is always a comic relief.
Now let us. You said
So
something
and I
about
and
the
denouement,
and the
climax.
anti-climax. Do you see it because the anticlimax is with all the problem, or let me say with all the problems in that play. Just look at the end. The end seems too narrow to me. Like I needed with all that because it's a problem, generational cause or what have you.
It's a series movie.
So you said
It's a series, so that's not the end actually.
that means that you are looking for you want more. But according to
It's a series.
the end of the film ended like he dealt with Esusu and the conqueror. But that anticlimax seems too narrow, too small. Within 2, 3 scenes, we've concluded something that you have since episode 1, 2, 3, 4 you established, and within 5, I think the anticlimax was on 6 only.
Yeah.
What do you think?
I think it's just a brief moment, and it depends on the writer. So, and I will say that the writers, they have their own taste. They have what they want to bring out. So, and if they had extended the anticlimax more than that, it would have been so much boring. I'm saying this
Okay.
because we have to look at predictability. When the story is becoming more predictable, that we know what will happen next, we know what will happen next. We already knew, even at the point of the anticlimax, that we already knew that this guy will win, that the king will win, and Isusu will be defeated, everything will be so. The moment we got to the point of the fact that we have been introduced to the main problem, that this is Isusu or whatever, whatever, and we know that this guy is going to triumph at the end of the day, the king. So that point, I think the best way to play around it, if I were to be the writer, so what I would have done is to reduce the anticlimax, even myself. That's what I would have done.
Even it reduces it more.
To reduce that, yeah, I would have reduced it more. So maybe
Wow.
like 2 scenes, 3.
Yeah, I want more.
No.
Because I love the movie. Seriously, I love the movie.
The
So,
movie is
at
very
a point,
good.
it was like I don't want it to end again.
But just like Sholade said, that
not
it would have been a very good future film. So you don't have to make it serial.
So let us look at the cast.
The casting, the only place I have issues with, do you get it? The only casting area that I have issues with is the
But the other six wives,
Oloris,
Oloris.
6 wives. They were looking too mommy.
They were dolls. There are some small dolls. There are
Yeah,
dolls. There are some small dolls.
check even check the kings that we have in Yoruba lands. Go and check the Olori of Oluwo, the former one. Very, very beautiful Olori. Come to Ilefe. Come and see the beautiful women that that Kabiyesi Oni Ojaja is getting married to day by day. I know it's the doors Baba has been opening. You get it? Beautiful doors. But at the end of the day, I just saw that Obadedu Joye, even if he didn't want to marry them, I believe that in the olden days, people want to give their beautiful maidens to Kabiyesi. This is the most beautiful girl in our town. We want Kabiyesi to marry Akide. Do you get it? But that is not the case. They had to bring people that might have gave birth to 4, 5 children. Do you get it? For Kabiyesi.
Like that, or is it that the story told us that they are giving back to 4 children?
The story did not tell us, but behind as a playwright, you get it. In a story, there's a story. Inside the story, there's a story. The cast that you bring, there's a story that we are not telling about the cast. But from the appearance, from everything, I can tell you that those people in that village, in that movie that came as Olori, must have been able to 4, 5 children, and which is very, very painful to me.
But on that, I want to say something. Beauty lies in the eyes of the beholder.
No problem.
One. And two,
when you want to marry, go and
beauty lies in the eyes of the beholder.
Go and carry them.
That's one. And two,
you didn't see Chiamaka?
Yeah, right. But what I'm saying is this: number one, beauty lies in the eyes of the beholder, and we should look at generational preference when it comes to women. So, and individuals have their preferences. Women, maybe they are. Amaka is not that
very beautiful woman now.
But what I'm saying is that some people love plus size, and it might be
Adedu Joye does not like plus size. Look at Chiamaka. Use Chiamaka to judge.
We are mistaking something. It's not the beauty. They are beautiful, those women. But what we are saying, what you were saying, I don't know if
it's not the beauty. It's like bringing Ajeku for a royalty.
Yes.
Somebody that might have not Barana Boro to come and
they are looking like
I'm not talking about them in real life. I'm talking
Yeah,
about in the
in the
movie.
movie.
Even if you meet such person in the movie, in that movie, if I were to meet them in that village, in that movie,
You will not
I
marry.
will not marry them. Not to talk of Adedujo, even though Adedujo does not want to marry them.
I think that is your preference.
That's not my preference. I cannot marry somebody that bear five
And
wife. I mean
aside that,
5 children,
in
jare.
movies, sincerely, the way they depict
That's why I said
kings
it's a
of
wrong
that
casting.
time, yes, it's a wrong. I will agree with you. I will agree.
I will
The reason
disagree.
I know.
Don't
we
no,
will
don't let me call it
disagree.
wrong casting. I
Wow.
just don't like the casting.
No, the reason, no, I want to go out, I want to come out straight. I don't like it because it has been our doing in film industry to be using, because okay, this person needs to cast, tell, let us use them. Sincerely, like you said, Kabiezis always love young beauty, especially that young. With what we've been seeing, day in, day out. Not, I'm not talking about real life now.
Even in reality,
I'm talking about even in film.
even in
You
reality,
see that Kabiyesi, we just go outside, see somebody, love the person, very small. We need ọmọ ekere yẹn, mama eje mi ṣe kini kan. Even the old Kabiyesi, not the young, old Ade, what have you, is even young. Oh, you understand? So I think that was a very wrong. I think only one or two out of those
no,
are
no,
young.
no,
Is it
not
one?
young, but was
The
looking
one that
slim.
yes. Okay. He wants to talk.
Don't say that the casting is wrong. I will not
Yeah.
agree when you say that the casting is wrong. I will not agree when you say that they are not fitting. So, number one, I would say that what are we trying to? Number one, there is this point of, let me quickly bring this one in. There is this point of what we call commodification, in the sense that, we are selling things, and sometimes what
Yes.
sells in one generation is different from what sells in another generation.
Okay.
I'm talking from the point of the production, the producer.
Yes.
What do they like in this generation? I think before, it is this slim thing, look young, but what we now value, like what the media have been promoting in Africa, is that this plus size, the dinla, big, thicker body,
Chubby.
like
Call it
chubby,
chubby.
that thicker body, and that is, to me, I will look at the commercialization. So if for us to look at that thing, we are selling our actors. So they might want to bring that thing. Some other people might watch it because of the plus sizes that they see. So some people might watch it from the point of the model, and the Amaka model,
the
kind of.
Amaka. Yeah, Amaka.
So,
That Amaka even attracted so many people.
and
When they
another thing is
introduced-
that, do you know that the roles that those people played? So another thing that I want us to consider is the role. They are troublesome people.
Yes.
And do you know that in Africa now, we believe that when you are chubby, you
Mhm.
have energy,
Mhm.
and you can fight, you can cause
Mhm.
trouble. So maybe the casting was decided because of that. So we don't know the reason why they did the casting. So if we say that it's a wrong casting, so imagine that you bring, um before, Igbala Dogi, and those, what do you call them, when you are asleep, they believe that, oh, you are a troublemaker and you talk too much. But when they want to show someone that is a troublemaker now, in this current time, they show someone that is plus size and all these things. And our sexual or whatever preference now has this plus whatever. So that's not it might not be my preference. I'm not saying my preference. I'm saying that it might be a consideration of what people want presently, or the fact that we are chubby doesn't mean that we are not beautiful. It might be
Like
another
me.
thing that, like you,
Even like you.
so that we are still beautiful, even though we are plus size. So, and thank God
let me comment on that. Those women are beautiful. That's not the issue. Those women are
That's not the
beautiful. The issue is that these people must have given birth to 4, 5 children. Those people that I'm
With their
looking. You
physique.
see, when you are choosing cast, it's not about size. No, there are people that are chubby that you know that ọmọ yóò tí ì bímọ.
but naturally,
ọmọ yóò tí ì this person is this. If I see you for the first time, I can tell you that whether you are married or not.
Or you
That's
feel
your
it better.
assumption. That's your
That's
assumption.
my assumption. I can
That's
tell you
your
that
assumption.
psychologically it can be right.
No, that's
To
your
some
assumption.
extent.
I would say that.
Do you get it? And there are changes in the body that will tell you that somebody must have given birth before.
Yeah,
That's
I
your
agree.
assumption. That's
I
your
agree with
assumption.
that.
But psychologically, these things are glaring now. They are glaring. I'm not talking about who is beautiful or not. No. You don't have to be.
This is the question. This is the question.
I'm not talking about who is beautiful, but I'm telling you that how they look, they were not looking like ẹni tó fẹ́ ṣẹ̀ṣẹ̀ gbéyàwó. Ẹni tó ṣẹ̀ṣẹ̀
I agree with
fẹ́
that.
ọkọ.
Actually,
They were looking like someone that they have been
They are-
divorced 10
yes,
years ago. And
yes. Some of them,
And
I can
do you-
even
it's
say
not about
two
the
or three
beauty.
of
They are
them.
beautiful.
Two of three of
They are
them
beautiful.
look like
In that
somebody
movie,
that
no,
has
not
been-
in
that-
reality.
No, we are talking about
In the movie.
Okay,
Do you get it?
Do you want to agree with that?
No,
You don't want to agree.
I won't agree with that.
Because you have to agree with that.
It's not my fault.
Yeah.
You can't
It's
force me
not-
to agree.
You have to
can't
agree
force me
with
to
that.
agree
No,
with
no,
you.
okay,
You can't
okay.
force me to agree.
And I can't force you to disagree with me.
You can't force me to agree with that. So the reason why you will not force me to agree with that. And Chioma, that plays the role of Amaka, can she play the role of a young lady that is not married?
No,
Can she play that role?
no.
Why?
That is the problem we are having in movies. And I just told you some minutes ago that I will watch the movie. That thing really triggered me. Why do we need to? Maybe it's because we are too familiar with these people. We know them that they are married. We know that they are giving birth.
That's the reason why you are.
Maybe I'm saying maybe.
That's the reason why you are saying.
So we know that these people, there are some casts you don't give to some persons. For instance, that Amaka, to now cast him as cast her as somebody that is just entering university part one. I know it is real, it can be possible, real life.
She can play the role of a part 4 student, a part 4 student or a youth corps member that don't meet.
No, that's what I'm saying. She shouldn't be able to be cast for a NYSA corps member. Do you understand? And they do that very well. Like you see mommies going to
Secondary
serve,
school self.
even secondary school, in our home videos. You understand? What that does to viewers is that it does not give us the ability to see the originality of that storyline.
That's what I'm saying.
So that is the reason why I'm saying I partially, in some way,
You said
agree
you
with.
agreed with.
No,
You said
let
you
me-
He has to
Now
agree
you
with
are
me.
saying
I've
He has to agree
I-
with me.
partially.
But
Me,
I
I don't know why
fully
we should
agree.
disagree.
I
Because
disagree.
as you are now, you can't marry those people if you see them normally. Why will you marry
I
them
can
as a
still
wife?
I can still marry maybe one.
The one that you see that is slim
No, not
or
the one-
looking
no, not the
looking
one that
young.
is- the one that looks I think I have 2 or 3.
Two, is it one or two? It's
Or
one or
2 that looks
Ah.
young. The one with spectacle.
Yes.
Ẹ
that
jẹ́
one.
kúrò lórí
That
ẹ̀jẹ̀.
one.
I can still, Ogami, I can still marry her, please.
You
Forget.
cannot marry her.
I can. You
Oh,
don't know my preference.
I
Ogami.
know your preference. Abi.
Please,
Okay,
go.
now let's go forward.